Have you ever imagined what it would be like to work on one of the world's largest container ships? Hold on to your life jackets, because we're about to embark on a voyage through some of the worst mishaps and catastrophes to ever affect these enormous ships. Container ships have experienced everything from fierce explosions to significant oil spills. We're listing the top 10 most epic accidents in this video. So grab some popcorn and prepare to be amazed by some of the most spectacular container ship disasters in history. Number 10. MV APL Japan, 2010. The MV APL Japan was a container ship that ran aground in the Singapore Strait in 2010. A number of factors, including powerful currents, strong winds, and human error, contributed to the accident. The ship was attempted to be floated, but it was stuck in the strait for several days, seriously disrupting international trade and the marine environment. The quick action of local authorities was able to contain the spread of spilled oil and avert further environmental harm, which lessened the impact of the MV APL Japan disaster. Further developments in crew training, maritime traffic management, and ship navigation systems were spurred by this incident in an effort to prevent future occurrences of incidents of this nature. Number 9. MV COSCO Busan, 2007. Container ship MV COSCO Busan collided with the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge in 2007. The ship's pilot's failure to properly navigate the ship in foggy conditions was a major factor in the accident's cause. Heavy fuel oil was significantly spilled into the bay as a result of the collision, harming the environment and upsetting local businesses. The MV COSCO Busan tragedy prompted modifications to ship pilot education programs and certification requirements, as well as enhancements to shipping lane markings and navigational aids. Number 8. MV Rena, 2011. Off the coast of New Zealand in 2011, the container ship MV Rena ran aground on the Astrolabe Reef. The ship's master's failure to properly navigate the vessel in bad weather was again cited as the accident's underlying cause. The MV Rena's grounding caused a significant oil spill, which had catastrophic effects on the local marine environment and ecosystem. As a result of this catastrophe, New Zealand tightened the rules for shipping in its waters and stepped up monitoring and enforcement to ensure that nothing similar ever happens again. Number 7. MV Ever Given, 2021. One of the biggest trade disruptions in recent history occurred in 2021 when a container ship MV Ever Given ran aground in the Suez Canal. High winds, poor visibility, and navigational error all contributed to the accident. The MV Ever Given's grounding led to a backlog of ships waiting to pass through the canal, which resulted in significant delays and increased costs for international trade. This incident prompted calls for increased investment in alternatives to the Suez Canal, such as the Northern Sea Route, as well as calls for improvements in shipping safety. Number 6. MV Hanjin Geneva, 2017. A serious engine room fire occurred on the container ship Hanjin Geneva in 2017. Approximately 1,500 miles off the coast of Hawaii, in the Pacific Ocean, the incident took place. The Hanjin Geneva's crew managed to put out the fire, but not before it seriously harmed both the ship and its cargo. Approximately 8,000 containers were on board the ship at the time of the fire, and many of them were destroyed. An estimate of the total loss put it in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The shipping industry has invested a lot in new fire suppression systems as a result of the accident because they are made to quickly detect and put out fires before they can do significant damage. Number 5. MV Seawise Giant, 1986. In the 1980s, one of the world's biggest container ships was the Seawise Giant. During the Iran-Iraq War in 1986, the ship sustained significant damage from an Iraqi airstrike. Eventually, the Seawise Giant was deemed a total loss despite the crew's best efforts. The Seawise Giant was one of the biggest and most sophisticated ships of its era, so the incident dealt a severe blow to the shipping industry. The shipping industry has increased its focus on security in response to the attack, and many container ships now have improved defensive systems to thwart potential attacks. Number 4. MV Al-Kuwait, 1991. During the Gulf War in 1991, the container ship Al-Kuwait was lost at sea. The ship was sailing in the Persian Gulf when it was hit by an Iraqi missile. An enormous fire was started by the explosion, and it quickly spread and sank the ship. Chemicals and petroleum products were among the numerous hazardous materials that Al-Kuwait was transporting. The ensuing spill seriously harmed the local environment and endangered both people and wildlife. Since then, the shipping sector has made sizable investments in spill response and containment systems that are intended to lessen the effects of spills and safeguard the environment. Number 3. M/V Maldives Victory, 2007. On September 3, 2007, the MV Maldives Victory capsized in Philippine waters. When the container ship collided with the fishing boat, which was en route to Hong Kong, it severely damaged the fishing boat and killed 4 of its crew members. An investigation determined that the crew's failure to take the proper precautions to avoid the fishing boat was what ultimately led to the collision. Due to this catastrophe, the shipping industry has implemented more safety measures, such as requiring the use of collision avoidance systems and upgrading crew training. Number 2. MV Baltic Ace, 2012. On December 5, 2012, the MV Baltic Ace, a container ship, collided with another container ship in the North Sea. Over 1,400 containers and all of the crew of the Baltic Ace were lost when the ship sank as a result of the collision. The crew of the Baltic Ace failed to take the proper precautions to prevent the collision, and there were communication issues between the 2 ships, according to an investigation into the accident. The shipping industry now places more emphasis on crew training and communication procedures as a result of this catastrophe. Number 1. MV Prestige, 2002. On November 13, 2002, off the coast of Spain, the MV Prestige disaster, one of the worst environmental disasters in recent memory, took place. When it sustained structural damage and started to leak oil, the container ship was transporting more than 77,000 metric tons of heavy fuel oil. The ship eventually sank despite attempts to tow it to a safer location, spilling all of its cargo into the water and causing extensive environmental damage along the coastlines of Spain, France, and Portugal. The catastrophe resulted in more stringent regulations for the design and construction of oil tankers, as well as the introduction of double-hull designs to stop oil spills. It has been eye-opening to travel through the top 10 most spectacular container ship disasters and accidents in history. Every shipping industry disaster, from the MV APL Japan to the infamous MV Ever Given, has provided us with invaluable lessons on the value of safety and environmental protection. What can we conclude from all of this, then? It's straightforward. Let's keep spreading awareness and backing initiatives to stop similar incidents from happening in the future. The high seas are rife with surprises, but with our dedication to safety, we can make sure the next voyage goes without a hitch.
Like and subscribe.